Hello, baby.
We got him, folks. That's right.
Who did you get?
Today, Al Qaeda leader, a man, Al Zawahiri.
You go. Wait, keep going. I want to know. I want to know what this is. I want to know who this is, Spencer. Who did we get?
No, he was the leader of Al Qaeda. U.S. President Joe Biden announced on Monday that a CIA drone strike. Anyway, I'm just reading the notification that I got on my phone. Welcome to Style and Direction. We're a political podcast, and we talk about the CIA.
I wasn't prepared for this. This was a memo I got.
You know,
speaking of drone strikes and explosions, I did have to call the gas company yesterday.
Oh, you did? Okay. Why did you?
I did.
Wait, did you call them? Guys, I got to place a drone strike. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said, hold on, guys. I know where Al Qaeda leader is. A man Zawahiri. I want to make sure I get this right.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I know, I probably didn't. But I mean, that's just how you know I'm not in Al Qaeda, because I don't know how to say the leader's name. So
yeah, they only get people in Al Qaeda who can say their own words. Right?
Yeah, and I mean that's why no one else can pronounce the name of the clown that represents McDonald's except for employees there. I keep anytime I try to say it, I can't pronounce it. I say like Ronald.
Is that a Pennywise thing? Is that what you're doing? Is that a?
No, I'm just saying that if it's like I can't pronounce that guy's name because I'm not in Al Qaeda, and no one else can pronounce that clown's name unless you work.
To say it and go
No. Yeah, let me. I'll try it right now.
Yeah.
Ronald McDougald.
See?
Hold on a second. I can't do it. That's crazy.
It.
No, hold on. We have to apply. Will it work if I apply to McDonald's? It's weird I can say it when I'm talking about the restaurant, but I can't say it together. Like I can say Ronald, and I can say McDonald, but together it goes Rogald McFogald, and I don't understand what's going on.
Rogald McFogald?
Yeah, that's
that should be the name of the episode, Rogald McFogald.
Yeah, he's friends with Showbo, the Showbiz King.
Yeah, and he's also the brother of Jared Fogle, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Well, like a long lost. I don't want to.
A long lost brother. There's twins separated at birth.
And
Is he a big guy? Did he ever learn about the sandwich trip? Wait, holy shit. So Jared Fogle's not the evil twin? Because that's the scariest universe.
Yeah.
If Jared Fogle is not the evil twin in this situation, then we're fucked.
I think you have to dress him in the opposite colors
of his, like, wait, so what's the opposite of the big jeans? Or maybe he has really small jeans and he's like, this is what I used to fit in.
Skinny jeans are evil, so I think that tracks.
Yeah, so evil, Jared Fogle's evil. What are we talking about? Is this a bonus episode? What the fuck is this?
No, this can't be bonus because we can't let our guest be, relegated to being behind the Patreon paywall, the PPW.
That's right.
Arguably, that would be a compliment. You should pay me for my time.
It's actually, I mean,
of course, as all ethical podcasts do, we're paying you for your appearance here.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we're not Scott Aukerman, famously not paying James Adamian, and then who has never been on Comedy Bang Bang since that time.
Yeah.
A little comedy drama for you.
Dramedy?
But dramedy, comma.
Comma?
I like comma.
Yeah.
I like comma a lot.
Yeah.
How many M's? Is it comma?
I mean, in my head it's spelled like Yusuf Kama. He's not a Lestrange, right, Spencer? No, his sister was the Lestrange. I don't remember. It's the guy.
I don't remember anything about these movies.
I don't know.
Other than they like. Okay, so the Fantastic Beasts movies. The only thing I remember about these movies is where Johnny Depp predicts the Holocaust and then says that you can stop it.
Yeah.
This is not like a Harry Potter movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Harry Potter movie. Well, technically it's pre-Harry Potter. It's
okay,
I'm sorry, it's the Wizarding World.
It's the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's in that franchise.
Yeah. If Warner Bros. Puts it in the same park, I don't care the distinction.
Well, here's a segue for you, and it's not Joe Bluth. You know, what's his name again? Damn it. Newt Scamander has a blue coat, and that blue is famously the favorite color of our guest. Yeah, it's my segue.
We're doing great this episode.
This is the like best. The segue about of the owner of Segway when he drove off a cliff. Like
yeah, exactly. That's that kind of segue.
Great job.
I mean, I was about to say that they discovered no gas leak, but based on how this episode is going, I'm starting to think there might be a gas leak in my house.
What if it's Xanthrax?
Xanthrax?
I think that's the joke in 30 Rock where like it's like a poison that smells like pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a mix of Xanax and anthrax.
It should be. It should be poison, but it actually makes you fall asleep at the same time. That's what it should do. Anyway, guys, welcome to the podcast. This is a fun. We got a fun one for you. Mm-hmm. An FO.
Yeah, we're going to an amusement park.
Yeah, it's like an amusement park. You know, but yeah, this is one of our famous. Famous is like the word I'm using today.
Did you just? I have famous.
Yeah, well, famously, we are not an interview podcast. Famously,
there you go. You saved it.
Thank you. And but this time we're breaking our own rules. We're breaking rules, breaking legs, and breaking some eggs.
Hell yeah, making the world's biggest omelet.
That's right. Make a bigger joke or break your eggs.
Yeah.
But we've got our good friend Silvia Zhang up on the podcast. I guess. I mean, technically,
you're up here.
You're up, and you're also where you live. You're in like
up on the iTunes charts.
Yeah, Spencer's on the second floor.
I thought this was going to be a short joke, but okay, keep going.
Well, it's the opposite.
Thank you.
It's a elevation. Yeah. Or I guess in Britain they would call it a lift. Anyway,
I would call a Lyft if my Uber app wasn't working.
and the guy says, "How am I going to get my elevator over there?" Well, then why would he say elevator?
Oh, you know what I'm saying? This.
Yeah,
you can ask yourself that. Anyway, give it up for Silvia Zhang for being on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I really do wish we had like intro music or sound effects that we could bring guests on.
We should. Sylvia, what's your favorite song?
Can it be a Pokemon song?
I feel like we could do walking music.
See, that would be so appropriate, right? Like Pokemon theme song, like the guitar.
Or like, how about one of the battle songs where it's like you walk through the tall grass and you see
Is that how you
Metapod?
That's how it goes.
Yeah. You're just hiding in the tall grass at all times.
But anyway, well, we're going out of tall grass. We're gonna take Sylvia out of the tall grass and I was gonna say
into a Pokeball.
And we're gonna talk to Sylvia about clothing and her style. That's what we're doing here today. Okay, I'm just gonna set it down. Cold open over. We're 8 minutes in.
We're a menswear podcast. I'm Spencer DSO.
I'm Ethan M. Wong. There's no stuffiness here, and we are talking. MJ, don't get on mic, by the way. You can stay off. But we're here to talk to Sylvia. Sylvia, welcome. How do you feel? How do you feel being on the Style and Direction podcast?
Wow, it is an absolute
the only
honor.
One.
Thank you. Yeah, the only.
But it's yeah, because it's like this is one of the only podcasts that my friends like generally talk to me about. Like they'll tell me about, like they'll listen to some of the like other topics that you do, and they'll ask me about them or like bring them up to me. So it'll be interesting because I haven't told people about me being on this, so I guess I'll just find out.
It's gonna be a surprise when it comes out.
Yeah,
there you go.
You can't say anything because you're under
They're gonna
NDA.
be so confused. They're gonna see like freaking Al Qaeda McDonald's.
Hold on. I wanna eat at Al Qaeda McDonald's. Actually, I wanna know what that's like.
It would be a new Pizzagate, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
It would be like, at the McDonald's HQ, they have like a special kitchen where they have like stuff from all around the world.
We're gonna get your podcast flagged for this shit. Oh my god.
Where they have like special menu items that you can only get at like certain locations. And how crazy would it be if you were a McDonald's employee and you walked in one day and on the menu it's like, okay, we have the Al Qaeda burger. It's from Al Qaeda.
Okay, what would you put? What would you put in this burger?
Yeah. I don't know.
Lamb.
I don't want to talk about Al Qaeda much longer.
That is such a banal answer. That's like racist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if banal just means like bananas having anal sex. Anyway,
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, sure. We're on the same like twin telepathy here. Sylvia, why don't we talk about how we know you, because you've been kind of, you and Annie have been kind of like these like surprise stars of like the blog posts of the past 2 years. We've been hanging out a lot. We've been going out a lot.
Right.
And maybe just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, because some people may not know. I think I've described you as a Discord mod, but maybe that's disingenuous over who you actually are.
Yeah, I remember reading that and being like, "Wow, that's how Ethan thinks of me. What a compliment!"
That's not one of the first things I would want people to know about me.
Yeah, I tried to keep that on the down low. Like you just out me right like that. But basically, yeah.
Like, what do you do?
So I'm a graduate student. So I work in physics at one of the universities here in LA.
Okay.
And yeah, most of the time, what I do is very much not design related, not fashion related. I actually work in.
I mean,
STEM.
It's like kind of like the design of the universe.
Oh my God!
If you ask God,
yeah,
he'd be like, physics. That's kind of like it's like art to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God!
Quote God.
Right, I didn't realize I was on this Joe Rogan Experience talking about like the designed universe. Watchmaker's dilemma.
We're gonna get Neil deGrasse Tyson to do a panel with you.
Up next, Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
So okay, that's interesting, Sylvia, because you work in science, and you. I'm really curious how you get into fashion from STEM, because not a lot of like STEM, at least for me, from my experience, not a lot of STEM people are into fashion, and that might not be true in a broad sense here, but it's not something that you typically think of, right? Science.
Because they're always just wearing those lab coats. They have the button-down t-shirts,
right?
button-down shirts with the pocket protectors.
I mean, you look at big. I mean, technically, Big Bang Theory. If you wanted to call that a style, sure, like wearing a graphic T-shirt that has like the Green Lantern symbol on it. But you're not one of those people, and you also famously don't like consume a lot of pop culture either. So that makes it even better. Like you're like the antithesis of the Big Bang Theory. Maybe you like that. Maybe that's what you want.
The opposite of the Big Bang Theory. What is the opposite? Well, I guess that would be intelligent design then.
Creation.
Okay. Well, I mean, like the graphic shirts. I mean, that's more your thing, right? So
that is true.
You dress the most closely to Big Bang Theory, but
Don't say that, please. Thank you. No. Okay. So what? Okay. So tell us a little bit.
Right.
Like you've been really. If you look at the blog posts, you've got some really great fits. Some of it is very close to. The ideas of what it means Spencer wear high-waisted pants, but what's a little bit of the journey there? Like, were you always into clothing?
Into fashion? No. So for some context, my mom and my little sister have always been really into fashion, but more into high-end fashion, as in like French designer houses. So it's a lot of Chanel and Dior stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always around people who cared about how they dressed, but I always thought that the way that they dressed looked so boring, and so...
Damn, you heard it here, Dior.
Okay, Maria Grazzi.
We're never getting
whatever the hell Maria Grazzi is doing is a travesty. That is a whole other topic that does not have to happen here. But I guess so. I was always around fashion, but I almost made it a point to not like fashion. In the same way that I think that, to your question earlier about being in science and people not dressing like that very much in STEM, I would say that it's even worse than that. I would say people, like, if you start to care about how you dress, that gets looked upon negatively. Like, you're so frivolous, right? Like, why are you wasting time worrying about clothes?
How can you think about clothes when I'm busy thinking about molecules?
Man, you're joking, but I'm pretty sure, like, I've seen enough episodes of The Big Bang Theory because people keep showing it to me that, like, basically that.
Well, Spencer was on The Big Bang Theory, so that's
yeah. I played Sheldon.
Yeah, for the never before seen
You're the pre-pilot, right?
Yeah.
I'm on Medium Sheldon. There's Young Sheldon and Medium Sheldon.
It's not out yet. Check out these. What is it on? CW? No, TBS. I think it's on.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway,
well, that's interesting about being, in a environment that is so anti-fashion. I feel like most jobs are like that in a sense, right? Like business people. Like that's why you people wore suits, right? Like, oh, I can just put it on, wear a tie, and it's like I don't have to think about it. I can just think about, I guess for me, I can think about ads, baby. Come on, or Spencer, got to think about the facts, ma'am. Yeah, the news.
But it sounds like you were this is all kind of like about rebellion. Like you're rebelling against your family and their boring fashion choices, and then you're rebelling against all those science nerds.
Yeah, I guess
by dressing cool.
It was always kind of argumentative. Like I dressed to the point. So like when I was younger, like I did it mostly to piss off my mom. So I think one of the worst incidents was when I was like 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
I found a shirt at Whole Foods.
Okay.
Did you know that you could buy clothes at Whole Foods? Yeah, I figured that out.
I guess,
They had a shirt that said "Commute, don't pollute," just across it, and just some graphic of a bike. And I bought it in like an XXL, and it was basically like a dress.
Why? Okay, first off, why the XXL? Like again, you're not like a tall
specific
person.
Shirt. Was it a cool design? Did you like the message?
No, it was so ugly. It was like this mud khaki green color, and I wonder
if we could find this shirt.
I have a picture of me wearing this shirt. Hang on.
Isn't it? It's also like immortalized in the painting, right?
Not that one. What?
Okay.
Yes, there may or may not be a family portrait of me in a different shirt, not from Whole Foods. That one was
okay. I thought someone at Whole Foods commissioned that, like a painting of that shirt.
I must paint you.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, that's so weird. Like, yeah, I'm really curious about like how much layers of rebellion did you have here? Like, I hate the environment, so it's kind of funny that I'm wearing this.
Well, no, it was like I was a huge environmentalist when I was younger, so I would go to protests and like beach cleanups and stuff. So like I genuinely I just genuinely liked it, and I just thought it was
that makes more sense now. Like you were at Whole Foods and you saw a shirt. It's kind of like it's like if you're at the local comic book store and they have a shirt that says like, I don't know,
Superman don't Lex Luthor instead of commute don't pollute. It's like a good thing and then don't bad thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So what? How long ago was that? Or like how long did you wear? Wear like oversized graphic, like basically like classic nerdcore stuff?
Like Pokemon shirts. There were a lot of Zelda shirts.
Okay.
I forget where the website was called. It's like Game Shark or something, and they had all these like stuff like that. So I wore this basically like all through high school. So I went to a school that had uniforms, so I never had to think about clothes much outside of when I was younger, anyways.
So you wore this outside of uniform, like it's my day. Hey, okay. So first off, I know exactly what that's like because I also had a uniform, and so I think I've said this on the podcast before. My rebellion was like I think they were announcing Picture Day, and I was like in my anti-suit phase because I didn't want to wear, like, I hated going to church, anti-religion at the time, still am. But I was like, hey, can I wear a gas mask t-shirt? Is that too edgy? And no one reacted to it because who the fuck cares about a gas mask t-shirt? But I'm like, this is my rebellion. But yeah, I understand dressing for or taking the opportunity when you're not wearing uniform to wear something that kind of signals something about you, and clearly you want to show people that you like the environment.
Right. Well, it was just like,
or Zelda, sure.
Yeah, it was at a time when you just didn't really think that much about it. You're like, yeah, this shirt is like a fun, like it's just funny or fun, and you just bought it and wear it, and you didn't think much past that.
And how long did this phase last you?
Yeah, so this was like up until pretty much middle of college.
Wow. Okay.
When I was in college, I was in physics and electrical engineering, and as you could imagine, people dress similarly, if not worse than that.
Yeah.
And so I was in school in Boston. So, and my friends at the time were I was doing like this rocketry stuff, like in this club. And all my friends who were in there, they were all from Catholic private schools in the area. So they dress a very specific way. It's a lot of plaid shirts, a lot of big jeans and Tims, and and toques.
Yep.
Okay.
Beanies, you call them beanies. I keep forgetting.
We do call them beanies, but I've seen Nathan for you, so I know what a toque is.
And I'm half Canadian, so I can call it toques.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so it was like a lot of that. So none of us really gave a shit about how we dressed. And it was really only about like it was 2018. Like I know the year because basically what happened was, so I was on Reddit. Like I was always on Reddit, and and there was male fashion advice. Well, yeah, I know because you're like the freaking moderator of that or whatever. Are you?
No, I'm not.
You are. Wait, that's surprising.
I'm a power user is what they call it, but I'm not a moderator.
Power user. Fair enough. But yeah, like occasionally stuff from MFA would make it to the front page, right? So I remember seeing the lookbook for this company that I didn't know of, but now is like one of my favorites. It's called Blue Blue Japan. So it's this Japanese brand focused on indigo dye and denim.
Gotcha.
And so I saw this lookbook and I saw this one fit in that lookbook, and I saw these pair of pants in it. They were like these Boro Sachiko pants, like with that kind of stitching on them. Yeah. I saw them and I was just like, I have never cared about clothes before, but I want those pants.
That's great.
And I just immediately bought them.
Do you know what about them? Like, was it because I know your favorite color is blue? Like, was it because it's blue? Was it like the DIY aspect of it? Like, I'm always interested in finding out like what excites someone about a particular piece of clothing.
Yeah.
So I think at the time I just never thought that. So like at the time I just never thought that clothes, that there were clothes that were things that I could see myself wearing or things that I cared about or in a style that I liked. So at the time, I don't think I could tell you. Obviously, I just saw them as I remember thinking like, I didn't know clothes could look like that, right?
Okay.
And it was, I mean, it's funny because, how do I put it? Those pants, I still own those pants and I still wear them a lot. And they're
they're great pants. They're really
cool.
good.
They're freaking great pants. But like, so what happened? So in terms of what I like about them now, I guess it's like, because they're
I mean, they're wide, kind of, right? You like wide fits.
Well, it's hard for me to actually say why I like those pants because I think those were the those were the things that set how I dress now.
Sure,
right? So
I get it. Yeah.
Everything is almost based off of those pants since then.
Okay,
that's basically what happened. Was that I bought those pants, got them in, wore them, tried everything else in my closet. And none of it looked good with them.
You tell me Pokemon shirts don't work with that thing?
Wow, surprising, right? So, like, Pokemon shirts didn't work. I wore a lot of Uniqlo and, like, James Purse, which is, like, some real boring shit. So, like, just none of it, like, worked with it. So then I bought the shirt that came in the lookbook set in that picture that I saw the pants in.
Yeah, okay.
Tried that together. Didn't like how it looked either. So I had to keep basically buying clothes until
trial and error stuff.
Literally, because I just didn't know, and I wasn't on Reddit, wasn't on Pinterest, wasn't on Instagram, on any of these things. So I had nothing to work off of.
That's so okay. This is so fun. It's like, I don't know. I love that you were just completely jumping off the deep end.
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that you didn't really like care about clothes before. I mean, I think we've said this on the podcast before. It's like everyone who even says like, oh, I don't care about clothes, they at least have like a favorite t-shirt or something. Like there's always like something that's like that speaks to them. And so it's like, I don't know, it's like really cool that you were able to see a garment that kind of like sparked at all of this, I guess.
And especially when it's like a more design focus, because you know, like we've said with like in our merch episode, like Spencer and I have kind of gotten back to this idea of like, oh, we should wear something that supports this whatever cause, museum, you know, IP like Star Wars that we like. Which we're kind of coming back to that after years of like famously like God being like agnostic toward, you know, signaling something. But you know, it's fun to go from like, okay, you know, you like Pokemon stuff, and then going, oh, whoa, these pants, they just look cool. They don't have an overt. I mean, you could say that they are merch of the designer, you know, whatever you want to support the designer. Okay. But it's not like there's no like name on it, right?
Right. I mean, it's how do I put this? There are a lot of things in my life that are like that, in the sense that I think I have very picky, specific taste, and nothing interests me until I find the one thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But then I find one thing that just completely captures my interest, and I just completely go off the deep end. It's the same with my hobby. I have fountain pens. It was the same with that.
Oh, okay.
It was the same with hi-fi equipment. So I have a pair of LCD 3s, and they were the first headphones that I ever tried at a store.
Wow.
And I ended up loving them so much that, like, I still have the same set that I bought like 6 years ago, and I haven't really deviated from that either. So I just have been able to like find specific items that open up an entire hobby to me, but they only interest me in that hobby because they capture my interest so much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it should be, right? Like, it's fun that, obviously we're friends because I see a lot of like kinship and similar souls, whatever you want to call it. But but it's that idea of like, being enamored with something, and especially clothing. It's not this. You weren't picking these pants because, oh, I've got to look like, it's not like a suit. Like, oh, I got this because I have to look formal, and then whatever. It's like, oh, I like this for this, and like you said, I can probably figure out like why I like spear point collars or big pants. But at the end of the day, if I really think about it, I'm like, I just like the way they fucking looked, man.
Right.
That's just how it is. And
that's
I think
exactly it.
It's a strong. I think people should like dive into that because that's the true way to enjoy clothing, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting that you said that you weren't really, you weren't like on Reddit or like, style form, whatever. I mean, I guess you probably wouldn't be on style form, but you didn't have these like external sources being like, okay, these are the clothes that you should be looking for. So what kind of like what was guiding you when you were buying? Like, what was like the like inspiration behind your purchases, or was it literally just like, oh, I like this garment, I'm gonna buy it? And then also, how did you like keep finding like new stuff? Because that's
It's a good question. So I'm trying to think back. So the first set of clothes that I ever, like, I remember the first like 5 or 6 pieces I got.
Mm-hmm.
They were frankly all from Blue Japan. So there are a bunch of, there's a picture Ethan took of me. So there's that Hawaiian style shirt, like that Hawaiian night that we did. That shirt was the second piece that I ever bought that was like a fashion piece. There were just more shirts from that company and a couple of other pants. What had basically happened was I got those, was starting to get into fashion. I guess I was looking at that time because it was a Japanese designer that got me interested. So I started looking at other Japanese ones. And I remember seeing Issey Miyake when I went out with my mom because she would go to Nordstrom and stuff, right? I remember like nothing else really ever being interesting to me there until I saw like Issey pieces. And I just really just thought they were cool. So then I'm trying to remember if I bought a piece before. No. So what happened was I was looking at lookbooks because of the first lookbook, Blue Chan. So I looked at the Issey lookbook, and I remember seeing the show for that same season, fall winter 2018, I think. And that season they took do you know the Bao bags?
No.
Okay. So have you ever seen those like tiled triangle bags that are like they're plastic? That's a Bao bag, and that's by Issey Miyake. So that bag is super famous. A lot of people use it, and like it's kind of like an LV, like just one of those brand bags.
I see
but
it
what
now.
they did, so Issey does all these pleated clothes, but that collection they did these suits. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's fall 2019 or fall. I think it's fall 2019 actually.
Okay.
They did these suits that had that same pattern. And I remember just thinking it looked so good. Here.
There we go. Okay.
This jacket. And there was a full navy suit that I saw that I got obsessed with. So you see that tiling of the fabric? You'll see it as it drapes. So it's reinforced with beeswax.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
I'm trying to find it.
Tell me that there's more use than just having a colorway for Clark's desert boots.
There you go. But yeah, so I saw this suit and I just wanted it. So what ended up happening was I was going to Japan. I was doing this whole like trip once I graduated college, so that was in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Japan, and I had at this point I only knew Japanese brands. So I knew Yoji, Issey, which are just the 2 biggest brands, and Blue Japan. So when I went to Tokyo, I went to Daikanayama, and I went to their store at Okura. Mm-hmm. So it's Blue Japan owned, but they carry a bunch of other brands like Hollywood Ranch Market. I don't know if you've heard of these ones.
We'll look it up afterward. Go on.
Sure. But they do a bunch of workwear stuff, like a lot of Japanese denim, self-edge. How do you say it? I never actually said the word out loud.
Self-edge. It's like it's spelled and pronounced basically
both ways.
Yeah, both ways.
Don't worry about it.
You want.
Yeah. Sure. But yeah, so I just went to that store, bought a bunch more pieces from other brands. So then I found out about Nementhes, I found out about Needles, I found out about Capital. And it was just by walking around Aoyama and Daikanayama that I saw all these other brands.
Really interesting, to kind of be tangible with it, like to be there in person, because that is something we don't really get to do, right, Spencer? Like we didn't see Drake's. I mean, we followed Drake's for a while. We didn't even get to touch it till we were in like New York. So
yeah, we're in the wrong market for menswear.
yeah, California.
No, it's tough. And yeah, so it was only really around at the end of that summer I downloaded an Instagram, and then I could actually see,
like you said, to follow the brands or whatever.
Exactly. So then I remembered following Okada, their Instagram, seeing more of their stuff, seeing other brands, and then of course you're just going through and you're gonna see people talk about other brands. You'll follow some stores that carry similar brands. So that's why I think even now, all the clothes I wear were pretty formed right from the start. The only problem that I had is I had individual pieces. Like I said, it was like this instinct of like, I like that piece. Do I have anything that this goes with? No. Do I understand how to wear it? No. But I just will figure it out. So for the first, I would say 2 years, maybe a year and a half, if I'm being generous to myself, I just like had all these clothes. And you know, like those people that you see who like wear all these like really fancy brand name pieces and they just look like shit because nothing will match, nothing will be cohesive.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so a lot of what I wore at the beginning was like that. Even on my Instagram, you can see some of the earlier stuff. I've deleted some because they're so bad, but some of the earlier stuff doesn't, like, you'll see the same pieces. I still own most of the pieces that I wore like from the start, but I never liked how I wore them because I just didn't know how to style them properly. And it took me just over and over trial and error until I liked what I was wearing and it made sense to me.
I remember like first getting into like when I was first getting into like fashion and like vintage, I guess, for a long time, just because I couldn't afford to get a whole lot. I didn't have like that many like vintage pieces, and so there would be days where it's like I wanted to wear like a cool vintage outfit, but I I couldn't. I had to wear my t-shirt with like Abraham Lincoln and a Batman mask and stuff, but yeah, it's always that's like always like a really hard part when you want to dress cool but you don't have the wardrobe to I don't know to do it.
But so now that you have a lot of pieces, I'm really curious about this whole trial and error thing you keep talking about. Like, what did that look like? Like, what constituted a failure in your eyes versus like me going, oh, okay, like this actually works? Because something that Spencer and I were discussing in preparation for this is we always have historical precedent for what we're wearing. That's like classic menswear, like. When you look at shoulder pads, you go, okay, there's like the 40s way of doing it, or like there's a 70s way. So like we know a little bit, okay, this is what should go. Big shoulder pads don't only work with skinny pants, so like we know to avoid that. But when you're starting to move into clothing that is, I mean, I see a lot of traditional like ideas in what you have, but it's still kind of like art for art's sake because there isn't as much precedent, especially when you're starting to mix two different brands together. You want to. I know that you want to make the most of your wardrobe too. You don't want to have like, okay, here's just this and just this. So, what was that trial and error like? How did you get through it? And
Oh God!
Yeah.
So the trial and error looked terrible. So it was a lot of how do I put it? So before, again, like I said, when I was in college and stuff, I wore a lot of jeans, and I'll be frank, I wore a lot of skinny jeans.
Hey, I was there too. Don't worry about it.
It was a dark time. It was an absolute travesty. So like a lot of it was me wearing these gigantic oversized shirts with skinny jeans and being like, this looks weird, just off balance, right?
That does sound weird. Yeah. That does sound.
Oh no, it was just so bad. Or like the jeans just didn't fit me very well, or the shirts didn't fit me very well, and it wasn't something I ever cared about. But once you're like when you have one piece that is just so well made, and the rest of your clothes show that they aren't, you can't really compensate for it. And so if they don't fit you well, they're just not going to look right. Or if I think a big thing for me also was like volume. So it was pretty clear to me from the start that I liked wide clothes, oversized clothes, and it is really, really easy to just think if I just buy a big shirt, then it'll be oversized. Yeah. And then you put it on and you're like, why does this not look right? So I just didn't understand what it was about construction of clothes that made them look good or purposely oversized or have enough structure to hold themselves. So what it was like, yeah, I would another big brand that like also changed how I dress a lot was Anglin. So I found this brand. It's a Korean brand. It's really big on Instagram. And it was one of the first brands that I found when I was on there. And I saw the pants that they did. They're these gigantic wide pants. They're called balloon pants. And I'm wearing them like literally right now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They are some of my favorite quote unquote basic pants. So I think, so those pants, they're just one sized. So they have a big elastic band. They're super easy to wear. You don't have to worry about size. They have strings in them, and I really think like I'm 5'2". Their models are 6 foot tall, some of them, and it looks great on everybody. And it just made it super easy to buy clothes because that was another thing was fit, right? Like I'm a short, pretty, I guess curvy. Like I just have broad shoulders and smaller waist and big hips. So it meant that a lot of menswear, which was what I was mostly interested in, didn't fit me very well. So a lot of oversized stuff was just what was possible for me to wear in the first place and still look good.
Gotcha.
But I ended up buying a lot of pants from Anglin. And then that made it easier because then I put on the Anglin pants and I could put on some like of these oversized shirts. And then it would fill the volume or be proportional.
Totally. At least. I totally get it. I mean, like there are a couple old photos of me wearing like I tried to wear like my 30s my 30s jackets or whatever with more contemporary pieces, but pants are always the issue, whether it's low waisted, whether it's too slim or whatever. And it wasn't until like I started like investing in thrifting, investing like time and like tailoring them, or even just buying custom made trousers. It wasn't until I got the pants to be proportional that just made everything kind of connect. And even recently in our Discord, someone asked like, what is a piece of menswear that is your favorite that like gets you really into it? And people thought I was going to say my sport coats. I said, no, it's pants. Pants are the key to making everything work.
Completely agree. Because I think like once you tuck in the shirt, that compensates for a lot, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So having high-waisted pants with big volume, you can wear a big top or a small top, and both will kind of proportionally make sense. So that freed it up for me a lot. And then kind of like I found Anglin, found those pants, found other brands, realized that like I think the guiding principles for me were color, and like proportions. So it's like in proportions, I mean like visually how much space parts take, like different items take up, right? So like there's a difference between like if you have an oversized short sleeve shirt versus an oversized long sleeve shirt, right? Because like that will visually take up. If you have big poofy sleeves that are kind of draping in cotton, then that will take up a lot of visual space. It's like the type of fabric that it is. I don't like shiny fabric very much because it's so eye-catching. Well, like I have a pair of patent leather shoes and I never wear them because I never want people looking at my my pants are matte and the shoes are shiny. I don't like how that looks. And it was just a lot of it's funny meeting you, Ethan. Like so we met at the beginning of this year through Marco.
Yep.
Whatever. But
shout out Marco, it's fine.
Yeah, Marco. No, like which was like how Ethan and I met. So Marco and I met on Instagram from following each other, and then we met in person, and then Marco introduced me to you. And we've since January. It's just been only this year that we've been hanging out. But
almost once a week.
At
least.
Unless I sleep through something.
Or you're out giving cool talks for science and space.
As it goes, traveling for work and stuff.
But shoes, you said shiny shoes.
Oh, right. So it's like it's hard. It was good meeting Ethan. Well, meeting you. Why am I calling you in third person? But like, it was like, well, it was like good because like you talk about clothes and you're asking me like, oh, what made you choose A over B? And it's never something that I got good at articulating. Even now, when you ask me, it's hard for me to give a reason because it just doesn't look right. And then if I think about it more, it's like, well, I want these colors to not clash, or I want them to be a contrasting color. And I never really consumed fashion media. So I have nothing to compare it with and say like, I don't like it because it's doing A, B, C, D. I don't have the language for it. It's just that
inventing it all in your own brain.
Yeah. So then like for a really long time, it was super, okay, that's like too, I don't want to play, but it was just like, I didn't know how to talk about this, how to research it, didn't know what terms to look up, didn't know what style I was even trying to go for, right? Like even now, at the beginning, I didn't really know how to characterize what I liked as clothes. Because I like Issei. What do you call Issei Miyake, right? In terms of fashion style.
Yeah, we just call. I would. It is interesting because, like, I think Spencer and I just call it like designer clothing. I feel like avant-garde. The more we get into like our exposed to fashion, like avant-garde tends to become even crazier. So like we can't really call some stuff the avant-garde, right? But interesting thing is that you said you don't consume a lot of fashion media, but you said that you consume a lot of like lookbooks, and I feel like that is a cool distinction between like I guess it's right. Fashion media, I guess enthusiast media of like blogs, other people wearing clothing is different than like what the brand is trying to say.
It's like the difference between if you're a film fan who just reads a lot of like movie criticism versus someone who just watches a lot of movies.
Yeah,
you're just going straight to the source, the movies.
Well, because I didn't like. How do you Google? Like, I didn't know that there were terms like. Like in men's fashion, like Ethan, like talks always about like bookcore or like.
To be fair, that's new.
These are all made up.
These are all made up by you. Fine. Okay, but like
not by me. I'm not
sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's academia. There's like dark wear, tech wear, streetwear. Normcore was a thing, right?
That's true.
Yeah. And there's iPod, iPhone. I am confused.
Yeah, but like, how do you find out about those terms unless you're on Reddit? Unless
that's true. No, you're absolutely
people,
right.
So it was all I had was lookbooks. So then, like,
that's crazy. That's really cool, though. I know Spencer and I are going to talk about like the tangibility of like knowledge and like how you get stuff, but. Okay,
I guess it's pretty really quick. It's pretty crazy that despite not reading any like fashion media, you still like we're talking about proportions earlier, but it's like I don't know. It's like obvious. Yeah, there are some early fits with some like weird skinny jeans, but pretty quickly it seems like you figure this out. And like one of the things that it seems like you're really good at is like mixing different designers that work with like different proportions and stuff like that. But I just love how everything just like works together so perfectly.
I mean the big theme there, right, is like big pants with a tucked in shirt and maybe like a longer jacket, which is technically the ideas of what we like from classic menswear. And I wonder if this is like a case of like you'll have a whole bunch of chimpanzees in a room with a keyboard, and then they fucking type a thing.
100%. I really think that's what it was.
Really? Okay.
No, because basically what happened was there's at some point where I just learned to freaking tuck my shirt into big pants, and I was like, wait, I like how this looks. And then everything from that point was me was high-waisted, big pants, and then some variation on that. To the point where I got annoyed at myself because I was like, I can't just keep doing this variation. Mm-hmm. But I think it's like building blocks, right? It was like, I like these pants. I like this shirt. And then once you have a collection, it's like, how do I wear these together? Then it's figuring out proportions. Like, okay, I liked oversized stuff. So then it was like, once I learned to tuck my shirt in and wear big pants, high-waisted, then that gave me the structure to put all of these different weird pieces into that construction, right? Mm-hmm. So there was some blueprint, there was some guideline to follow from there. Once I figured out that proportion worked and tried to figure out why I liked that proportion, then I could play with other stuff of not tucking my shirt in and understanding where it could fall like lengthwise on me so that it didn't look disproportionate. I could wear big jackets over it and not feel swallowed up. So it really was just step by step, like, can I make this work? How do I make it work? And just kind of going from there. The mixing of brands was literally because, like, I would just see a brand, I would see a piece and say, I want that piece. That's still how I buy clothes now. It's never like, oh, this would complement anything or this would fill a gap. I have no idea. And Ethan's been to my house and has seen my closet. It is very confusing. It is a lot of, nothing is cohesive about it. Because I've told Ethan this, I don't like it when I'm trying to fill a gap in my head, like I'm wearing something and I'm trying to think of another piece, like what do I need to wear with this? And I don't want to think of multiple things that fill a similar purpose. So I don't want to have two slightly different pairs of big jeans when I could just have one, because I don't want to have to think about it more than that. So I would rather have breadth than like minutiae of details and stuff. I'm not a subtle person like that.
I do think about clothes in a similar way, even though, again, our chosen medium is classic menswear, which to most people
menswear.
looks most people looks the same. But to me, I'm not like, oh, I gotta have these. I'm like, oh no, these are the brown pants. They are brown and they have a specific thing. And then I've got these ones, and I've been trying to do. I've been trying a lot lately to kind of remove anything like redundancies. Like I recently gave my green balloon DB to Andy, who wore it to my party, because I have a green suit, and I'm like, you know what, I should only have one of these things, and I should also be challenged to break up my suits, and then kind of get the most use out of it. Can you tell me a little bit about like versatility within your wardrobe? Because I mean, obviously, I'm looking at it here, and I know, I mean, your style is unique, but I do recognize like the formula that you have, and a lot of it isn't too crazy outside of some pieces. Like there's a lot of big pants, which we all like, and there's a lot of like cardigan style jackets and sport coat style jackets and everything. But I mean, like you said, right? Like your wardrobe, by your own admission, isn't as cohesive. But how do you find the ability to combine certain things and create, new fits?
Right. So I think for me, it is mostly silhouette inspired or piece inspired.
Got it.
So, for example, like obviously in the beginning when I started wearing clothes, I didn't understand a lot of fashion. I just wasn't well informed about it. Now I am a lot more well informed, and since then, a lot of like workwear inspo has made it into what I wear. And it's not in necessarily the details or the specific items that I wear, it's how I wear them. So I remember, like, it was funny because Annie said to me a couple days ago with one of the fits I wore, she's like, you kind of look like I don't know what it was, but something about this reminds me of a mailman. Which,
okay.
Basically, I was like wearing a baseball cap. I was wearing like a CDG shirt that had like a Peter Pan collar. And I was wearing those SaD pants. Ethan, you've seen them, like the green and blue ones that are split.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that tucked into that, and it's like what's it called? Like a paper bag.
Like a messenger bag.
No, it's like, well, I had a messenger bag, and then the waist was it's super wide, and you cinch it with like the belt, so it gets all ruffled.
Sure. Okay.
Something like that. Anyway, so I wore the idea behind it, like I picked a specific bag that looked more like a duffel bag, I guess.
Okay.
But I never had a conscious thought about it. But then when I tried it on, I was like, I had other bags that were like more formal that didn't look right to me, and it was just because of I was trying to go for something more workwear. But yeah, it's basically it was off the silhouette or it's off pieces. So by silhouette, I mean like there are certain shapes that I'm inspired by. So there's like, I don't know if you've seen like Japanese construction workers. They have these gigantic pants. They wear tabby boots and like hard hats and like either tank tops or like these gigantic shirts. And so that is a silhouette that I just love and shows up in a lot of what I wear. There are also silhouettes from like cafe workers, I would say.
Okay.
And stuff like that. It's like basically in my head, there are specific images that I've seen in inspiration folders that kind of stick in my head. And I'm like, that's a shape that I like. And I can make my pieces conform to those, but then put my own spin on it and what the actual individual pieces are.
It sounds like an odd spin-off of cinematic dressing, but instead of characters, it's shapes, which I think is it's just so interesting. I think it's really cool because, I want to spend a little bit of time, I guess, or the last half of this interview talking about like, your clothes and your surroundings. And what it clearly sounds like that you're not guided by formality or like a dress code, right? Like you don't like some of the clothes you could argue are kind of formal, like for some people, like people will see designer clothing and be like, oh, you're so dressed up, right? But that's not why you dress this way. And you also, your job and your surroundings don't require a dress code outside of like practical stuff. So I'm wondering like how do you figure out like what you want to wear and when do you wear it and what are people's reaction to it? And take that how you want.
Right. So like there's multiple layers to that. I mean, the first thing is that I didn't
There's multiple layers to your outfits.
And to onions.
And onions.
And ogres, right?
And ogres.
Okay, that one I at least know. But yeah, so like again, I only started getting into fashion in end of 2019, really. And then of course the pandemic hit in like April of the next year. So a lot of it was So first off, like you said earlier, I'm a Discord mod. So there's this Discord called Expensive Human Fashion that I ended up joining around that time during the pandemic because I just didn't, everyone was trying to find communities and people to talk to online. And
I mean, I was okay, but yeah.
Okay, all right. We can't all be you, Ethan. But yeah, so like I was on that Discord, and basically the only time I talked about fashion or participated in fashion was at my home. So I would dress up at home, take pictures of myself in the mirror, post about it online, and never wore it out. So a lot of the crazy stuff that I wore is like all at home. Never wore it out. Just
did you
like scared.
How long did you wear it? Did you take it off right after you took the fit pic, or was it like I'll at least wear it around the house?
A lot of it was, I would put it on and take it off.
Okay.
Like immediately?
Well, like, it's not practical to sit in a lot of the clothes that I wear, Ethan. Like, you should, like, some of the Issei pants that I wear, I would worry about it, like, creasing, right, over time. So, like, I would just, once it was out there, I didn't need to wear it.
Wow, okay.
And I'm, like, doing chores at home. They're, like, gigantic. There's, like, these distressed, like,
I mean, you were just talking about how the construction workers wear big pants.
Yeah, that's like for keeping cool and stuff. But like when you're trying to drive, it like catches your pants and stuff.
That's true.
And like if you're wearing like big boots and stuff, it's hard to walk in. So like for me, it's like I always wanted to be comfortable, but some of the stuff I liked to wear was just like kind of too out there to be like that. So I would just wear it at home and not wear it out. And so once I've met Ethan, that was during a time where I was like, some of it made it out of my house. A lot of the Anglin stuff, a lot of the more streetwear stuff, Japanese like streetwear. But a lot of the weirder stuff that I wore at home or posted online, I never wore outside because I was too embarrassed by it.
Embarrassed? Okay, do you think it's embarrassed or impractical? Which one do you think?
Well, it's like this thing of like, it is impractical. And I mean, in LA, I had never seen anyone who kind of wore specifically the stuff that I wore. Like I had these giant, like you've seen these pants even. Like for example, I have these gigantic circle pants.
Sure.
They're a pair of Issei pants, and they're like a giant, like the pant legs form the ring, and then there's another piece that goes between the two pant legs, so there's just a freaking hole in the middle. And I love these pants, but obviously you wear those in public, people are like, what the fuck are you wearing? I just wasn't used to getting that attention about what I wore or how I presented myself, right?
Right, but you still liked you liked what you bought, though, right?
Yeah, but it was this thing of like I could dress that way and present it to an audience that I knew appreciated the same things that I did, right? It's not a scary audience.
So that sounds a little bit like dressing for the internet, just a little bit, but like not
Are
like
you accusing someone of dressing for the internet?
Well, not like for like the kudos aspect, but like like when I go to trivia, I'm not dressing for trivia, I'm dressing for myself, but I know my friends don't care. But this is kind of in that same way of like, okay, well, you're dressing and it's like, hey guys, it's fine. I got my internet friends. It's just, I know sounds like, worse, but
It's like the extreme version of how, you'll never wear a fit after you take a photo of it, where you're just wearing it to get the photo and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do that.
I'm just saying that you've talked about how once you take your fit pic, that outfit is like done. It's like you can't wear it again.
Yeah, you can't repeat outfits. Remember, we've talked about this.
Yeah, no, Let me. This is not about me here, but I will say.
I'm just making a comparison.
No, I get it. No. I will say for all the JTRs out there who love to bring up my outfit repeating stuff, I will say that I still wear it out. Because sometimes the fit pic doesn't happen it doesn't happen at the last moment of sun, right? But
it should.
But it it does help that I've documented it on my camera because it's kind of like, it's like I was talking to my friend Joseph, and when I was first getting to know him, like getting to know him again, he was saying how when I was like, oh, I take a fit pic, he's like, oh yeah, like I do body progress photos, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like if you don't take a fit pic or take the body progress photo, it's like the progress is lost a little bit. I mean, you can always take it the next day, but like your workout might be different the next day, or maybe like, your body might change or whatever, in small amounts. So I'm like, okay, you get it. Like, I have shown that I've worn this and it's done now. I don't have to repeat. But anyway, back to Silvia, the person who's actually in the hot seat here, so you would take these photos, right? You'd wear and like that, and like that's it. Like, did you ever try to take it out of the context of your own home? Um, outside of like, obviously, you're doing experiments, so maybe that's not conducive for that. But like, maybe on like a day off or something or whatever.
I think there was a time where I was experimenting more with wearing that stuff out. So it
Okay.
started, like I said, with a lot of the Japanese streetwear. It's like if you wear, what I would say is that like wearing big oversized pants and like a big coat, like a coach jacket, like
Mm-hmm.
isn't, or sports jacket or whatever, like doesn't look that weird to the day-to-day
Right.
person, right? So it's still different in a way that like
Yeah.
I would get comments about my clothes, like, oh, I like your pants or whatever, and that was nice.
Yeah.
And it kind of was like me really inching at it, like, oh, how
Gotcha.
far can I go until people start making like negative comments, right? Or like, because like
When they
did
hate
you ever
you.
did you get how much? Did you get negative comments?
What's the worst comment you got?
Yeah.
they were never like rude per se. They were just like like I remember I was wearing an all blue fit. So like Ethan said, my favorite color is blue to like the point of obsession. So like the one rule that I have about like not having things repeat themselves, blue
Yeah.
pants and blue shirts do not fall into that category. I have about like 10 of each, which is like insane for me. But so I was basically wearing a blue Issei pleats dress with a big oversized like bright cobalt blue blazer and like some like blue Acme Studios toque that I have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to basically like a makers fest. So there's a place in Arts District in LA called Kensho Ryokan, and they were doing an event that my friend was working at, so I went to it. And it was like some like fashion event. There were like people selling clothes and furniture and stuff. So I dressed up more because I thought like, oh, I can dress up more for this because
Sure.
there will be other people who are interested in this stuff. I remember getting in the Uber and the Uber driver was like, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, like shopping, I guess. And he literally was just like, oh, so you just dress like that normally? And I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah, go to hell, bozo.
Drive to hell, more like it, right?
It's just like comments like that. I've worn like a big oversized, I have like a big Tom Brown oversized blazer, the navy one.
Yeah.
It's the one that we wore when I went to Bodhi with you, Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wearing that over like just jeans and like I think like a white button-up shirt, short sleeve one. And I wore that to work. Or like I wore that to my university and I went to get lunch with my coworkers and I sat down and one of my coworkers, his name's Albert. He's a great guy, but like he just looked me, he dead ass looked me up and down, right? Like like tilted his head, looked up and down, and said, "Are you giving a talk later?" And I'm like, I was like, what the fuck? And then one of my other coworkers just straight up said, Silvia, you can wear whatever you want, whenever you want. No one should judge you for it. And I'm like, thank you. That's the message. And he didn't mean, like, none of these people mean badly by it.
Sure, yeah.
But that was the kind of reaction that put me off in the start, where it's like, oh, I am overdressed. Oh, I'm standing out in a way that I don't want to attract attention.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, like, but you also recognize that what you are wearing is like bold, though, right?
Yeah, and like this was the problem for a while. Was that I like these clothes. I didn't know where to wear them, so then I was like, well, I'll just wear them out and just go from there. And I mean, a big part of it was meeting you and like being around a bunch of similarly fashion interested people, where it's like if we all go out dressed like this, then none of us look individually weird.
We're all weird, but it's at least we're there. See, so the internet is now in real life, baby. Like that's what it is.
Right, exactly.
We love the internet.
No, I mean, we've been addressing a lot of this, like a lot of the past podcasts have been about like the menswear trauma of wearing it out and like reconciling that idea. And I mean, it's like it's one of those things like sometimes you just have to own it, because if you really like it, like it shouldn't like matter, but it does. Like, we had the episode last year on community and having friends. Like you gotta also like, it helps to be around these people that that don't make you look as weird comparatively.
And I mean, I've talked about when someone yelled dipshit at me because I wore a fedora in public. So I understand.
Which I haven't even gotten, which I think is really funny.
That would bum me out. But yeah, I mean, another part of it was like, it didn't take. I'm like, there's like literally a photo that is timestamped where I like the photo, I like the fit. Genuinely just full on was like, this was a good fit.
Yeah.
And I could see fits from after that I'm like, this is when I liked how I dressed. For about a year, I did not like how I dressed. Or I like wasn't satisfied with it. It was never what I wanted. So like when is this photo from? This is from August of 2019, of 2021, sorry. So it was only about a year ago, after trying and like basically in my mind trying and failing for 2 years, that I actually liked how I dressed. So that was another thing, right? It was like I was posting it online on my Instagram eventually, but mostly was just on EHF to my friends, and you know, they were pretty nice and like they would give me some comments, but not many. But it was just like for myself. I was probably the biggest critic of myself. No one else really said anything about it, but I was never satisfied with what I wore.
Was there any like experiments that you did that you felt like really failed? That like didn't work out? Anything that you tried that was like, God. Oh, this is not gonna. I can't go this way.
Do you want me to send you those pictures? Because I could literally send them.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah, what counts as a failure to you, you know? Like, it is funny because, like, you know, obviously when Spencer and I do the same thing as well, like, you know, like, oh, this fit sucks, but people, like, to regular people, they're like, oh, this is fine, you guys look nice. But I'm like, no. Like, whenever I show, like, the old Gatsby pictures or whatever, like, yeah, I get it, but it's, like, it's not exactly it.
Right. So I'm going to send you some that to me are failures.
Okay. We'll put these in the blog post as well so we can...
Sure.
It's going to be a section called failure.
Yeah, Okay, I can see a little bit of the last one, but the top one's not awful.
I think it's really bad. So you mean
there's bugs on your body. So
okay.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Okay, shut up. The bugs are amazing. But so that one's a failure to me because I don't think like it's busy in a way that doesn't look good because the
like if fucking bugs, man.
Fuck you. I love that shirt. So the thing is, both of those. So here's an example. We were talking about lookbooks and looking at brands. Both of those the shirt with the bugs on it and the blazer are both Sarah Burton, Alexander McQueen. Okay.
Okay.
But same designer. I don't think they look good with each other at all. Obviously, right? Because the blazer is so busy and so dark and so geometric that having this white silk shirt that's like slightly shiny, slightly clinging and fit, when the shirt itself is so structured and the shirt is kind of falling forward, and then the fact that the pattern size just I don't think looks good together because it's so inconsistent. Like if you're gonna do busy big patterns, they have to either contrast more or less than that, right? I don't think this looks like it serves any purpose. Then the color of the pants, I think doesn't really belong. Like it's not off-putting, but I don't think it belongs. And then it's also like proportion-wise, the length of the blazer I think goes down too low, and is too structured at the top to have that kind of loose shirt. If it was a tighter shirt, I think it probably would have worked. If I wasn't wearing any shirt, I think it probably would have worked too.
Well, because see, as a vintage head, I just look at this and I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a zoot suit. So I figured that it's like why, to me, all the proportions like look normal.
So I'll show you.
But you wouldn't wear a zoot suit with a 70s pagoda shoulder jacket, though, Spencer.
That's true.
So
come on, this is rookie mistakes.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like I've seen some costume ones with like crazy zoot suit.
Well, that's
crazy
a costume,
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna. I've worn these pants with the actual blazer that. So the pants are from Margiela. I've worn them with the actual set, and this is zoot suit inspired. Now that I know this. But I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know this at the time.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. This is really cool. This is great.
It's so now that I'm more educated on it, like I know what this is reference to. It is referential, but it's completely, I just love the proportions on this. But this is the proportion that makes sense, right? And then in contrast, when you look at that first fit, I don't think it works at all.
I mean, you also got a cutaway jacket style as well, which is very Victorian.
Yes.
It's just like sweeping down at you. I mean, maybe this is why everyone's got to learn fucking menswear so they know what all this stuff is based on, and then they can go back.
That's a big thing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. This is why we wanted to have you on, because I feel like, as I've known you, like, first off, right, we had Marco, and Marco's style I've always described as vaguely menswear. There is this it feels familiar maybe at this point. And with yours, I mean, like I feel like he's prepped me to be like, okay, I can see everything that's that's being attempted here, whether it's like historically, right, like the zoot suit stuff or like chore codes, etc. And it's great that you've gotten to the stuff, some of the stuff that Spencer and I have kind of agreed upon or have learned, but without the historical precedence for it, without being into vintage first, which is wild.
I mean, maybe it's just proof that what we like is objectively right and good, and because people can come to this conclusion on their own.
That's right. It's like it's like why Adam loves vintage, and he can get it just by being some indie fucking film editor. It's proof people can get it. We're not crazy.
Like, hey, like I almost don't want to say this because it's so cringe, but it's almost like like in my field, I'm in physics, right? And like all of these separate people do experiments, and they come to the same conclusion about some things, right? Because you're just measuring
independently.
It's just a constant of the universe. Menswear is a constant of the universe.
There's the quote of the day. That's it right there. Well, I mean, I hope that you get to wear this out. I mean, I guess my last question is: do you want your life to move in a direction where you can wear this stuff out more often? I mean, obviously we've been going out more. I don't know if you went out before. Clearly, you have gone to stuff. You're very into the
I have friends outside of you and your friends.
Sure, but also like the food stuff that you go to, I feel like is very inclined. And even though you're not in a creative field, you do things that are conducive to wear creative clothing.
Yeah, I guess you're asking me if I would be. I wish I changed jobs to something.
No, I would say like do you want to pivot up? Because I feel like Spencer and I have kind of done that. Like we've we like the ideas of going out, so we go out, or I go to, if I want to wear, if I'm going out, if I go to like the bars, or if I want to go read, so I want to look like it makes sense. So I'm wondering if that's something similar for you.
I guess for me, what's different from how I dress compared to you is that a lot of my clothes don't have like either cinematic context, a social context.
Sure.
A lot of what I think a lot of what I wear is there isn't really a place that it would belong more other than like at least like really specific like art galleries or places where people are just wearing avant-garde things. So in that sense, I've never really thought about trying to be in a place that would make it feel like it belonged more, because I think it never really would belong. It would always stand out, and I'm kind of okay with that. I'll be honest, like one of the biggest compliments I get these days is if people ask me if I either work in food or fashion and don't assume that I work in STEM, which is nice because it's like, you can have some kind of stereotype of like what a person in STEM looks like. I am a woman in physics. I work on experiments, so I'm building telescopes and stuff, which is not, So it's like, for me, it's nice to be able to be, have that be part of my life and have all this other stuff be a part of my life. And the fact that it's so diametrically opposed to each other, like I kind of enjoy it, that it doesn't really feel cohesive.
Right.
Yeah. I know we're closing up, but yeah, I did want to ask more about how clothing relates to your job, because I know you were talking about earlier how a lot of the work you do is very physical and not good for clothing. Really, like you were telling me that like one of your colleagues, like at the end of the day, he just had 2 big like rips on the front of his jeans.
Yeah. I've had chicken wire. I work with grease. I work with cranes. I work with electronics. Everything is a hazard. I work with acetone. Yeah. Other chemicals. Yeah.
And so what do you wear? Like, what do you wear on days like that?
So what I usually wear is what I consider like foundational pieces. So Anglin is most of the stuff that I wear at work, because those pants are super comfortable. They have gigantic pockets, which is super, super useful for my work because it keeps screws and like tools in my pockets all the time. Yeah. So Anglin is, I love wearing it to work because it's just super practical, and I love how they look and I love how they feel, and I can beat them up and not worry about it.
That's I like, it's always nice to have like these practical pieces that still actually like, or that work for what you're doing physically, but still like look good. I'm glad you don't just have to wear like, a $2 t-shirt and then like Gap jeans or something.
Right. No, I still like I'll have pieces that are kind of older that can get beat up, and
Yeah.
I won't worry about it. There's still pieces that I like, but um,
Do you
yeah, I
find
don't have to
yourself
fuss
like
them.
buying stuff for the like practical? Because like you could see it, it's like, oh my god, there's a lot of pockets on here. It's like, or this is the perfect little pocket to fit my specialized tool that I use in
Honestly,
building telescopes. And do you like, is
no,
that something that you look for? No.
never. I have never thought
Okay.
about clothes in that sense.
Huh. Okay.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
I've
I mean,
never
I
thought about the
definitely.
practicality of anything that I've worn.
Wow. Okay. Because I think about that. I know we did a
Interesting.
whole episode about practicality, but I definitely like sometimes that's like why I'll like a military like or old work jacket or something that I'll see is because I'll see it and I'm like, holy shit! Like look at all these pockets. Think of all the stuff that I could put in here. Or it's like, or it's like, oh, that's so lightweight, but it looks like um, it's stuff like that I always think about when buying clothes. So it's interesting that yeah, even though you do have like kind of a reason to look for it, um, you don't really think about it.
I just never really think about. I think my work and my clothes are
Are
so
so separate.
so separate in my mind. I've never
Okay.
once thought like, yeah, that's a surprise. I've never. Wow, I'm actually surprised at myself that I've never thought about that. But no, never.
I mean, it's. Do you ever want your job to be less practical, like to be less what do you call it, tactile? Because I mean, there's a lot of if you start lecturing instead, right? Then you could wear this crazy stuff. Because I mean, you showed me like the German economics professor who like wears some crazy shit. But that kind of makes sense, right? Like I mean, it's not like you're fucking in the numbers, baby, with with
Yeah.
your hands and everything. You could
Right.
wear whatever you want and be an econ professor. That's what I mean by when I asked you, like, do you want your life to move that direction? Like, do you want to be
Oh, I
less
see.
practical, and have it make more sense and everything?
No, because that's I love what I do. Like I love working with my hands. I could never do a desk job, and I could
Mm-hmm.
never. I don't know. I think I'm too rude and too like mean to ever be a lecturer. I don't think I could really do
Well, you heard it
that.
here, guys. Everyone who uses their hands for their jobs are all rude people.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
I
mean
think that
mean
would track
folks.
surprisingly well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Correlation.
Because the people who work with their hands aren't working with people as much, and it's because we don't like working with people.
You know who the best kind of people are? Double amputees.
Because they have to be nice to everyone. Because they
Yeah,
can't. They
Oh,
can't
they
use.
can't talk, and then they can't talk with their hands at all.
Yeah, there you go. Jesus,
they can't win a
Yeah,
fight, right? So if they piss somebody off, what are they gonna do?
kick them.
they could do that. Maybe,
That's
and
right.
they probably have a really powerful leg because
There
they
you
don't
go.
have arms.
All right.
There you go.
So do you see? I guess final question is like, do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, you maintaining your diametric world, and having like, do you ever think you're going to find a way to kind of put these two together somehow? I mean, you, like you said, you do have some stuff that you wear at work that is still in your vein,
Yeah.
you know
I don't think that as much as I love my clothes, I would never change my lifestyle to accommodate it
okay, yeah,
because I mean, wearing clothes I guess is some expression of myself, right? And
Hmm.
sure.
it's also most of the time it is me off the clock. And it's how do I put it? Like I guess the way I think about it more is like when I'm at work, I am focusing on my job, right? And
Hmm.
Right.
You're
that
not even
is
thinking about the clothes.
yeah, I know, crazy, right? But like I bring
Yeah.
extra sets of clothes to work that I keep in my car in case there's an emergency, so I don't have to stress about my clothes.
Like a crazy art gallery or a crazy like food event that you gotta I gotta get my fit out.
No, I mean like something is about to blow up at my experiment, so
Sure.
I'm like wearing a nice shirt, and I'm like, well, I don't have to want to worry about my shirt when I'm working, right? So it's like they're just different parts of my life, and they might not be able to coexist, and that's okay. I'm on the clock and I'm off the clock, and when I go out with you or go out to events, I'll pull out, I'll go to the tents, right? Like it's like when I go now, it's like when I go out, like I'm gonna wear even the crazier stuff because I don't get to wear it as much as work,
Hmm.
and that's okay too, right? Like it doesn't have to bleed into every part of my life. It can't exist in a context.
And everyone's gonna agree with you because that's how normal people are. Like they like jobs have dress codes. Like famously, take a shot. There is a guy in our Discord who was like, "Yeah, I got sent home from my finance job because I wore a green suit and like it was a green suit, like button down collar shirt, dark tie. Like it was like the only thing weird was like it's a green, not like a a dark suit, and it's like I felt so, it's like, yeah, like, he had to go home and he couldn't just wear that out, at his job. But of course, he's not going to just quit his job just so he can wear green suits,
Right.
But he's also not going to refrain from buying green suit because he likes it,
Exactly. But it's like if I know it's a week where I'm not gonna have to go into the lab, then yeah, I'll dress up, I'll wear the stuff that I want, and I'll get the funny comments from my coworkers, and that's fine,
Right.
and I don't mind that. But like to ask me if I would like not do physics or not do hardware.
No, I mean that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like what if you wanted to talk, I guess theoretical
but
physics versus
like talking.
versus the handing experiments.
No, it's okay, like my job requires this of me, and it's different things require different things of me, and that's that's okay.
Is there any like specialized scientific garments that look cool that we're sleeping on? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like lab coats, hazmat suits. Like what else is there? Is there like a special jacket that physicists wear?
Man, I wish. So what I will say is, so part of my research is I work on a telescope in Antarctica, and I'm supposed to go down there. Well, I am going down there in 2 months, basically, to install my telescope at the geographic South Pole. And they provide, so you're taken care of by the United States government, and there's this program called USAP, which stands for like polar, like support something. I can't quite remember, but they have one of the things that I really, really want is there's a gigantic red parka that they have there for keeping yourself alive in like negative 50-degree weather. And it has like all these big badges of USAP, of the government, specifically for South Pole Station. And it has your name on it. So it's like, it has your initials and like your, like what affiliation you're with and what experiment you work on. And it's like, I want this thing so badly. I got told that you can't take it home. I am going to beg them, offer money to basically take it home with me. Because that's something that I really want. Cool. Aside from that, I'm like, what do I wear? Like, what are like official uniforms I have to wear? Clean suits, but those are not good looking. Oh, maybe. It's like a jumpsuit, right? With like big things you pull over your shoes. I don't know.
I mean, hey, it's fine. Maybe scientists who work on telescopes aren't meant to wear your isumiyaki at all times, or silage. Silage. I love saying that, even though it's not that pronounced that way.
I think it's silage. You're right. I mean, hey, I wore. What did I wear? Yeah, I wore an Issei dress when I was at that conference for like some of the days when I was doing my talk. I was wearing I thought about wearing my Tom Brown suit. I didn't end up bringing it because it was so stinking hot. But I'm not opposed to wearing it at work. Obviously, it's just like I literally work with oil and greases, and I don't hate my clothes enough to wear that at work.
No, I
Someone's gonna come up with some like oil resistant clothing or grease resistant clothing, or maybe, I guess the other way you could just like, just get like a heritage denim jacket and then just really break it in.
I mean, this is why some people go into that direction, but you just went in the opposite, where the clothes you wear you can't wear it to work, which is still fine. I think it's almost refreshing to have this stuff. I mean, like if I had to go to the office, maybe my style would change slightly. Maybe it would be a little bit more cool guy because it's LA and a cool agency versus like wearing a fucking foulard tie and white socks.
It's just I get to have a double life. That's kind of fun.
Whoa, okay.
I mean, hey, it worked for Spider-Man. Actually, no, it doesn't, because that's like his whole thing is that he can't do it. Yeah. Well,
same for Batman, yeah.
That's true, but he's rich versus a fucking teenager who has to work at a paper from an abusive boss.
Yeah, did you guys know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, the billionaire?
Well, he's got to stop Ronald McFogel.
Ronald McFogle.
Yeah, the evil twin.
Yeah. Wait, he's a Batman villain?
Yeah. Well, Silvia, thank you for joining us on the episode. I think this is hopefully very insightful to everyone else. I mean, our whole goal is to kind of get people to think about clothing and find out why they like it.
For once in their life.
Yeah, come on. And one thing I want to say earlier at the top I just forgot is that I feel like I've gotten a better appreciation through you and Marco about like designer clothing, like just not heritage, not bespoke tailoring, and not vintage. There's a lot of stuff to appreciate from it, a lot of stuff that's cool about it, but also it's really accessible, and maybe that's because the proportions are roughly the same of things that I like, and that's the real answer. Like I think when you said that you were you wear stuff based on proportion, I feel like that's the same thing. It's why I like pants, it's why I like my jacket to be a certain length. There's a whole episode we did on proportions, so
yeah.
We sure did.
I think with a lot of the stuff that I wear, I think if you just squint your eyes for like turn to a black and white photo of it, like it all I think looks proportionally similar to a lot of menswear.
I mean, it's vague menswear. It's vaguely squint. It's vague.
Just take the details and there's some extra details and bells and whistles and stuff, but it's all the same.
I mean, I can confidently say, like, if I wasn't into menswear or any kind of because even then, you don't do the updated, you're not capital like Marco, where it's a little bit closer to menswear, but if I was removing menswear entirely from the equation, I feel like I would dress similarly to you, because it's just the proportions are all there, it's just so slouchy, and the pants go up to your belly button where they should be. We should
do a style swap. You should let me pick an outfit for you, and you pick an outfit for me.
That's crazy. Wife swap. Because I love I'm married to my clothing. Well, again, thank you for coming on here. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Is there anything you want to plug for for people to follow? I mean, I know you don't want attention, but if there's anything that you want to share out there that people can get into.
Oh my god! But then I have to say my handle in public.
Say it. Say your handle.
My Instagram handle is bitch please.
Amazing.
So
love it.
There you go.
Bitch PLISSE. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess there's EHF if you're interested in more avant-garde fashion. We're another Discord group. I am a moderator of it. Yeah, if you have interest in all these other brands that are adjacent maybe to menswear, but are kind of specifically more designer, then yeah, it's a cool community. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a good place. Even though I have to moderate my own thing. I can't do two, but I'm still there. I am there. I am in there. So, and a lot of other great guys like Warp and Chris and Maflita, and everyone's also in there. I mean, that's where they were. So
that's where they belong.
Right. Well, hey, if you guys want somewhere to belong, you can go to patreon.com/downdirection and join our Discord. Unlike EHF, you have to pay to get in there, but it's just to help support us.
My Discord is just more accessible, more for the,
that
the
is
working class.
I was gonna say it. I was like, I cannot actually say that.
I can.
Yeah, there it is. But yeah, go to $5 a month. We'll give you access to our Discord and our bonus episodes where we talk about menswear, but personal stuff. And $10 a month, nothing else is different, but we do say your name as a thank you. So thank you to Austin Malat, Shane Curry, Philip Regard, Jarrett Colian, and Henrik Wilberg. We appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you to MJ for shutting up, but also being the producer of our podcast. Thank
God we could record this and get an hour where MJ's shutting up.
Yeah, for once, that guy talks his fucking ass off.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO.
MJ do to you.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.